Oh, it's recording. So I'm going to clap.
Did you hit the button?
Yes. No. Yes. Thank you. I had to hit the button again. So we're going to clap to get the thing right. All right. Welcome everybody out there to Divorce Devil episode 44. See what happens when we have been together for 2 weeks?
I know. It's like we have to get all of our squirrel out. Wait, where's your marker?
Divorce Devil episode 44. David and Rachel on the mic. Hold on. Ready? Hold on. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, there's Dave. Divorce Devil, David and Rachel. Yes. Wow. One more time.
David and Rachel.
All right. So Rachel brought up a subject, things you're not prepared for before, during, and after your divorce is over.
Yeah.
So let's start with kiddos.
Yeah.
Schools. Same school, out of school, no school.
And does it depend on who moves out? Who decides to want a divorce? Do they have the power to say, I'm done, I want this? Or because you were the one left holding the bag, you're like, well, you left me, so I get to make the decision. So there's a lot of things that go into, what are you doing?
You know.
The faces this boy makes, like YouTube, like if you can't.
West Side. Yeah.
Hey, how's that thing go? Like the West Side.
Yeah.
The faces this boy makes. Okay.
Hey, keeping it real.
Yeah, the things that. What's your power? When do you learn what your power is, and how do you go? If one person was cheated on, or one person like felt that they were wronged, how do you decide who gets who and who gets the dog? Who gets, how often do I get to see my kid? And when you went, 7 days a week seeing your kid every single day to 3.5 days seeing your kid, and, the transition of them going from one house to the other, and, reeling them back in after they've been at the fun parent's house, or, where there's no rules or stuff like that. So when I first was divorced, I moved into like a 1-bedroom apartment. I mean, it was a beautiful, let's not lie, it was a huge place. But anyway, so I had, 1 bedroom and not really a place for my son other than like, you can sleep on the floor, you can sleep on the couch, you can sleep here, blah, blah, blah.
So what school did he go to? Did he go to the school where you were living at the time?
Well, yeah, because when we went through it, it was like, it was still school year, like beginning of school year, stuff like that, where we were, basically, let's keep it as normal as possible. Let's get through the holidays. Let's try to do things together, even though we're separated.
Now, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
So, if you're separated and getting a divorce, why do you do things together? That's like staying together for the kids.
Well, yeah.
But you want to keep some normalcy.
Well, here's the thing.
But the normalcy isn't true.
Well, I think that was more of mine because my kids were still at the house I left. Yeah. And so their normal, their bedrooms, their backyard, all their things were at that house still. And I was kind of like the separate entity. So I almost wanted to feel normal for the holidays because I knew it was going to be rough going, and I did do some celebration, like Christmas Eve. My daughter was home from school and I had stayed in her room with her downstairs and did the whole Christmas, morning, blah, blah, blah. Well, like after brunch, lunch, I went out, I was by myself because it was his time to have them. And that to me was one of the most heartbreaking things. Yeah. Like, I don't have my kids Christmas night when they're playing with all the gifts they got, and it's just like everybody's chill and Christmas dinner. Like,
but that's the price you pay. But it's a price.
But at the time
but it's a price
of it,
you're worth paying. Yes.
Yeah, at the time of it,
it's horrible.
You can feel every part of your heart breaking.
Yep.
So it's like, I know next year this is not gonna, like, I'm even getting Jerry. I know next year.
I'm sorry.
He's so sensitive throwing shit at me. What the hell? No, like, all the shit's such an asshole.
I know, I love it. Let me help you there. Hold on.
I'm okay. I'm okay. It's fine. Everything's fine.
See, that's why I didn't wear mascaras, because you knew you were going to
God
get teary
damn
today.
it. Shut
See?
up. I mean, I literally did one eye this morning.
See?
That's how tired I was. I'm like,
That's a teary eye.
okay, like one eye was done. I looked at me. I'm like, oh, wait, we're on YouTube now. So I gotta be
But you got through Christmas.
So yeah, I got through Christmas and then New Year. So New Year is when I literally went home to see my family, my cousins and my, any of the family that, didn't really know. And I went to see my brother, and it was oh, by the way, we are done. Divorce, like it's filed, everything's in it. And I felt most like myself then. And I'm like, oh, I just got a taste of what it feels like to be single.
Yeah. To be free.
And to be like making my own decisions. Like, I rented a car. Well, guess what? When I told the lady at the register I'm going home to tell my family I'm getting divorced, she gave me a Mustang. So then I was like, yeah, I love this. So my little guy and I were...
Guess what's going to be in the title of this podcast? I got a Mustang.
I got a Mustang. And so, yeah, I'm like, I could get used to this, and...
But it's a process. You
have
to go through it.
It is like going home, to my family and saying, I failed, because at that time you feel like you failed.
Yeah.
I failed. Now what? And my brother had recently gone through divorce, and he was so supportive, and like my cousins were they're all like, all right, who are we gonna kill? But in the same instant, I'm like, I don't want you to hate him because I am not with him. I want you to make your own decision. And he's always been one of those guys, like, because it's my family, he was very supportive, even though we lived next to his family. And in Jersey, it was like, I'm 20 minutes from this family. We're always close enough to family to be able to see them. But, like, now I feel like I'm so close to my family. Where I thought I was close to them, now it's like, we never really texted, like...
It's almost like you needed them, but they filled a void.
Yeah, and I didn't know how much I needed them until I went home. And then it was like, okay, well, now we're going to have cousins Christmas, and then it's going to be this holiday, and who do I spend, I'm here, and they're all back east. I'm like, do I go home for Easter and see my family? Do I go home for Thanksgiving and see my family? Like, how do I maintain that family, which, in New Jersey, a lot of my holidays were spent with his family, and my family came to visit. Where now it's like, I'm going to visit my family, and I'm going to do my family stuff, and I get to decide who I get to go see. It's not just, I'm not expected.
You're your own priority.
Yeah, and I'm not expected to do it. Like, and, the first Christmas, like Lance and I, when we spent our first Christmas, like, it actually was fucking torture, because my daughter is basically like, I don't like this. This is not the norm. Last year, even though you were separated, you spent the time together, and I don't like it.
But you got through it.
And it was one of those things where she's like, you like everybody else better than me. And it was just her figuring out her place in this new life. And I've said before, each of the kids have had their moment where like, I didn't ask for this. And even though they see how happy we are, and again, like you said, it's a process. Who gets the kid for the holiday that's 20?
Oh.
And if that kid decides...
Let me answer that. Answer that. So... I got divorced. My kids were in junior high and high school, and we did week on, week off. Parenting time, changed on Sundays, and we had every holiday figured out. But as the years went by, she got them every Christmas. They just went over their Christmas like it was just boom. Yeah. So instead of me going nutso and say, hey, every other year I got them Christmas, biatch. I didn't say that. Biatch. I let it go because I had to say, hey, the times I see my kids, every day's Christmas. So from that standpoint, holidays don't mean the same to me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big one. Holidays don't mean the same. They're totally different as when you were family married till after your divorce.
Yeah. Well, and like, so... For Christmas, for me, it had always been like, okay, so in the morning, Grandma was going to come over and watch us open our gifts. And then...
Mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Christmas Eve was always at her house, which it was a great event because all of their side of the family would come. Now, my mom and dad can decide to come to visit, but my mom and dad aren't going to come visit me at the same time because they're also divorced. So it was like, I either get my dad Christmas Eve and my mom the couple days after Christmas, or I get my dad Christmas time and my mom New Year's. And then if we ever had like a New Year's party and they both wanted to come, it was like, okay, what the fuck? Who's gonna fight? Who's gonna end up in the bushes drunk? You know, stuff like that. So a lot of times it was easier almost to be like, let's just do the holidays with your family and let's do this, and then we'll make time for mine. And then it kept getting longer and longer, and that we made priority for my family.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was one of the things that I begrudged. Like, you know, it really wasn't about my family. It was, and I don't think my ex ever made me feel like my family wasn't important. It just was so immersed in his family.
That didn't matter.
It really didn't come up a lot either. It was like, well, your parents are always welcome to come whenever, which of course they are. But like, you know, we would travel to go see them in Pennsylvania. It's like a 2.5, 3 hour trip. So we literally had to plan it. Mm-hmm. We could do it in a day, but then you see them for 5 hours and they have to drive home, you know. And,
but his family's right around the corner.
And his are literally every classification of family, cousins, uncles, brothers, nephews, nieces, blah blah blah, literally within a 10-minute radius, like 10-mile radius. So
it was easier,
which was great for my kids too growing up, because they had cousins live right by them, hung out, do the blah blah blah. But again, my family was, you know, once a year, twice a year, you know. Oh my goodness, someone take the camera away from this boy. Let me tell you, I mean, I thought I was like
Who said divorce can't be fun? Come on now.
Who said?
I was crying when what are you doing?
I was crying. He tried to throw like paper at my face to wipe my tears, and I mean, we have a marker for distraction. But
where
yeah,
were we? Yes.
Holidays, they don't mean the same. So like, what do you do now different, other than not be with your wife, of course? But how are holidays different for you? We might not get through this, folks. Oh my God.
Holidays are different now because they're older.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice last Christmas. They all came and hung out with me Christmas.
That's awesome.
And that's the first, because David has been in New York for 4.5 years. Mm-hmm. That's the first Christmas in a long time they all came over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Like, it was strange to have them Christmas. Right. That's how crazy it was.
Yeah, it's almost like an awkward moment, like you're trying to impress your kids kind of thing.
Hey, you guys are here.
Yeah.
Cool. You know, what do we do now? Oh, it's Christmas. Yes.
Oh, yeah, we're supposed to eat something. Aren't we supposed to, like, cook?
So I took my girlfriend cooked all the, not Hello Fresh. What's that guy that comes around the truck?
Swanson,
not Swanson, it's the other guy.
Omaha Steaks?
No, different guy. Anyway.
There's a guy that's going around.
Truck with fish. I had a ton of fish. So I took we had like 5 different fishes.
You just rented the food truck and it was out front. And
No, it was in the freezer. I said, I'm going to cook all this fish, get this fish out of the damn freezer. So I cooked
get food poisoning?
All the fish. No, they're frozen. I don't think so. I cooked all the fish for Christmas, and we had a blast. And we sat there and watched Wonder Woman 1984, which was okay. Yeah,
I didn't see it. Just the fact that only because my 20-year-old daughter was like, "Yeah, don't waste your time," because it was about some kind of lasso, or I don't even. It was about something. I don't even know. I didn't watch it. I liked the first one. Random squirrel.
Movie review.
So so Christmas.
So what else? So holidays. What else?
Well, I think holidays in itself, like, so my ex makes a substantial amount more than I do, but there's some debt, so whatever. He's always the one-upper. Mm-hmm. So now it's like, you know, he's going to get him like the computer system, the this, the that. I'm like, all right, so I literally have $27 in the bank because you don't have me on. I lost my job, blah, blah, blah. But I still tried to make it great. I mean, I still, you know, I'm pretty good at saving.
It's all about making memories, though.
Yeah, and
memories don't cost a lot of money.
We had Lance's brother visiting with his daughter, with 2 of the daughters, and we just made it about family. And then we went to Lance's brother's house, and his dad was there, and it was just like, I saw his family, like, in that, you know, in their element, and it was great, and I was so welcomed, and, like, even the big family picture I was in, I was like, and my kids, of course, were there, and it really brought me back to what the holidays are about. It's about family. And a lot of it was yes, this isn't my family, but I understand the dynamic of the family and being there. Whereas my
But you have fun too.
yeah, and with my ex's family, it was always like there's a fight, or someone's gonna get mad at someone, or someone's not gonna like the food you made, or they're gonna make a comment about what you made, and whatever. And it was always like everybody was always on eggshells, trying not to piss somebody off. Where this was just like it's so nice. Yeah, it's just easy. And then like so like this Christmas is like, okay, we've been through all the first, we've done all this, like everything's gonna be. I love Halloween. I love Christmas. Like, you don't even understand. Like, I'm a maniac. Like, now I'm like, I'm gonna make every single thing great. But I actually have realized that it really is about the memories. And I almost like, hey, let's for Christmas get a trip somewhere. Let's do like an adventure. Let's like
something simple and cheap. It doesn't have to be expensive.
So it's more about the memories that we're making in this new life, and I really do want dreams to come true, but I want them to be in a happy situation. Like growing up, it was always every morning it was fucking chaos. Christmas, the holidays always ruined by a parent fight, or mom being drunk, or something would always ruin Christmas. And so now I'm like, I get to make it not be ruined. Well, it took me this long to be like, no matter what happens, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna play games, we're gonna whatever we decide, it's just gonna be together, and it's gonna be calm. Like I feel like
so nice.
In the divorce, I gained calm, which was nice.
Our Christmas, we used to open one present on Christmas Eve.
Oh, us too, yeah.
And I used to have 5 Christmas trees in the house. One big 12-foot Christmas tree, and then 4 6-foot Christmas tree. I mean, it was crazy.
Nuts, yeah. That's how it was when I was married. We lived up in.
And so, in the divorce, since she left, I got all the ornaments, every ornament, everything. But I got rid of all the trees, but I kept all the ornaments for when the kids get older.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I hate putting up a tree now. Hate it.
Really?
Once again, it's got to water it down, but you bend and you reflect and you move on from that moment,
So like one of the things that I haven't done in a while that I want to do this year, so I would always have like the kids over, because of course the kids were younger, and we would do gingerbread houses, and we'd have like a contest and everybody got to vote, or we did a cookie exchange, or we did a craft. Like my mom and her siblings, she's one of 13, they would all the sisters would make this like Christmas event. And I remember the event, yes, but I remember my mom and her sisters not fighting, not bickering, all working around Santa's coming, and there's like these, they would make these tributes with like sewing, and I just remembered that, not even the gifts I got, but I remember like everybody be excited about Santa coming. Then all the kids would go upstairs and watch like, I think it was like Muppets Christmas or something. We'd all pass out. We'd wake up and it's Christmas morning, or close to Christmas, or we'd have a Christmas party. Like there's the memories that I have of the good times with that always stemmed around my mom's family growing up, because again, like it was mostly my mom's family, and I'm trying to get back to that where it's like, it doesn't have to be, we do the cookie exchange and this, and it doesn't have to be stress, and it doesn't have to be all, but just something that gives the kids memories that aren't just the divorce.
So what about other holidays?
I think the other holidays are just easy, like, Easter, I don't go to church, so I know. Yeah, that's my religion. Okay. Serial killer match?
There you go.
All right. Again, yeah.
Halloween, you
No,
dress
that's
up,
a big
like
one
that.
too, though.
Yeah.
Church, like religion. With divorce, I've become very, very spiritual, and a lot of people in, I'm going to say in the Christian faith that I was friends with have really disowned me for getting divorced. So now I'm like, all right, I'm a Buddhist, I guess, because I'm practicing just be a nice fucking human, and then like.
So what about the fact that the Catholics don't believe in divorce?
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to get a no.
My sister's mad at me because I got a divorce, but yet her husband has a mistress that he lives with in Vegas and taking care of her kids for the last couple of years, but she won't divorce him because she believe.
What's wrong with that?
Fuck you.
I don't understand the problem.
Listen here.
Vegas, hello, mistress. Duh.
That he met in Texas, though, like, whatever.
Texas plus mistress equals Vegas. Wow.
I don't know. They moved to Vegas because I don't know. But my sister's mad at my sister and I don't speak at all. Like blocked. Blocked on the Facebook. Don't
because
talk.
You got the Facebook that was down 6 hours. So so you don't talk because she doesn't believe in divorce.
No, we don't talk because I'm tired of the victim.
Oh.
The victim status, and I don't ever help her. And
That's another podcast.
That's another podcast. Yeah. Stop. Literally, the divorce has made me not take shit from anybody. I'm no longer a doormat.
It empowers you.
Yeah, no longer a doormat. I'm not going to play your games. I will give you sympathy all fucking day. But when you say, I'm not a victim and I don't want pity, but yeah, every one of your Facebook statuses, I need pity and I'm the black sheep of the family and no one understands me and blah, blah, blah. Like, fuck you.
I love when white people are black sheep. That's kind of cool.
Does that make me an Oreo sheep?
Oreo sheep. Bye, Oreo sheep. Have you any wool? No, but I taste sweet. I got a creamy inside. Oh my God.
If I stop breathing at any point, it's his fault.
We will keep the cameras rolling.
I'm going to spit my water out.
But no, not prepared for it.
Family being like, it's all your fault. Why did you leave? And then, like, a lot of it is miscommunication to family members, like making yourself feel better because you're gonna just like throw the other person on the bus, even if it's not true.
Well, my mom didn't approve or whatever of my divorce. So when I went to my divorce, it took 18 months. I didn't talk to her for 18 months.
Wow.
Because I needed some self-care. Because I knew that she wasn't going to help me get through it.
Yeah.
So I packaged her on the curb for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was I kind of went through it. I think I told you that my aunt helped me.
Yeah.
But my mom was no help at all. And that was sad.
Well,
it's still sad.
Well, one of the things too, going through my divorce, I really felt all alone. My parents are both gone. My sister was mad at me because everybody loves Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, well, I'm sorry. You don't live with him. And I'm not going to tell all of his shit because it's not my shit to tell unless you're asking me why.
Yep.
And I'm not...
And you actually care.
And it's really like, you're...
Genuine.
Yeah, exactly. And so then my brother was going through his stuff and his wife was going through some things, and I'd never really want to burden anybody with my shit. And then mine is I shut down. I just stop. Like I said, I stopped eating. I started drinking a lot and going out and just, not giving a fuck about myself. And no matter what that meant. And so, yes, I was working and I was making the money to try to, support myself and my son, and I really just stopped caring. I didn't care about anybody's opinion about it.
I think it's a phase that we have to go through.
Yeah.
That you almost got to hit rock bottom in order to pop.
Oh yeah, and that was so and I'm such a people pleaser. Like I want everybody else to be happy around me, so then I can vibe off that energy. But if people are coming at me, ask me why I'm the way I'm acting, I will just cry. I'm like, I don't know.
So do you ever look back and say, man, I was down?
Oh, yeah.
I look back and say, wow, that was me.
Yeah.
And then my thing is that you hear people say that suicide is so selfish. But, man, you don't know unless you hit rock bottom.
Well, and I don't think I ever thought about, taking myself out. I just thought about running away. I was like, it will be so much easier if they're just with him, who can provide so much more, because he was the moneymaker. I mean, I have a great job, but I was working in a school so I could be near my son. So if he had a day off, I had a day off, because my ex traveled so much with work and things. I never knew if he was going to be home. So it was definitely convenient. And I said, I always took a second, priority in jobs, because his had such a growth potential. And so I didn't settle, because I honestly got to spend time with my kids. I had summers off, all this other stuff. But I see now where I always put myself second. And then in my marriage, I was always put at least 10th.
Yeah, you were down the road.
And so when you put yourself second in anything, you can't see your value or your worth. And so I really think that part of my growing was I really needed to go from the bottom and figure it, like you said, the bottom, but I literally had to peel back all the layers of who I am, because at 19 I didn't know who I was, and then I got into a relationship, and then I got married, and then I had kids, and then I had that, so I'm at the bottom of the totem pole, and I'm trying to raise my vibe, my energy, and I had to kick the ladder out from under myself and say, all right, knock it off.
Let's go. I don't think it's a standpoint of you want to off yourself. I think it starts like you said, that you want to run away. I think it starts like, what would it be like if I wasn't here?
Oh yeah, I've had that.
And then it morphs into something more deadly and dastardly. But you need your village.
I mean, there's been times when I've been on hikes by myself, and I'm just like, if I just got lost, not on purpose, but not on accident.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, you're like, if I just go down this trail, like this path
leads to nowhere.
And that's okay. And I think a lot of times, like I told you too, like I would drive, and like if I don't have the radio on, I'm so in my head. Like in the morning, sometimes if I'm so tired and the radio doesn't come up, I know I need more sleep. If I'm on a road trip and the radio's off, I am thinking about 9,000 things.
Crazy shit.
And so sometimes I would just drive, like, when I was living up towards Castle Rock, I would drive to like Estes Park, or I would drive like Evergreen, or I'd drive Fort Collins. Like I would just drive, and I don't know half the time, like not, I was of sound mind, but like half the time I was so spaced out. Like, how did I not like get hurt?
How did I get from point A to point
B? And it was just like
a
such a sadness, like trying to figure out, like, I mean, there'd be times in the car I'm just sobbing, or if I did have a song and then it came on and it was like, I'm like, all right, I'm driving, I need to like, and sometimes I just go find a little cafe and like sit there and be like, watch it. I would people watch to see like, okay, that person's by themselves, I'm by myself. Oh my gosh, I'm alone. Oh my God, I'm single. Oh, this, like, I have to do this by myself. Do I go to a movie by myself? Do I go to a restaurant by myself? And it was really like, it was really such an eye-opener of like, I didn't have a self.
How do you handle triggers? Triggers meaning a person, place, or thing that reminds you of your ex, like a song, or like a place you go, or like a stoplight or something like that.
Yeah, I feel because we are from here, so a lot of the things that trigger me, like when I go back east, there's if I'm driving, like I had taken Lance to New Jersey and like our old stomping grounds, and I went to see my brother, and so things that I had done with him, South Jersey.
There you go, Jersey side.
Jersey South. So sometimes when I'm back home, I'm like, oh, that's where we would go, for anniversaries, or that's where we would do this. And some of those places are my favorite places, but not now because it was with him. It's because, oh, I like the food, or this is where we go, like, this is the casino we would go to.
It doesn't trigger grief because you moved on.
Yeah, and when I first went home, after the divorce and stuff like that, like last summer, and I was like...
It was different?
Just driving into my town, I definitely was sad. Because I'm like, there's nothing here for me. I mean, literally, there's a house that we still rent out to military and, collect the rent and stuff like that. But the only thing there is, like, my dad's buried there. Like, my son that we lost is there. And the people there that I know that are my friends, that have known him his whole life still, that I can still text and be like, hey, like one of my girlfriends still comes out sometimes, and like she used to do my hair, like for a year she would still fly out here and do my hair because she had free miles and all that. But anyway, she's like a sister to me. And then, my best friend still lives in the same town, and so like when I go home, I go see her, and it really is sad because so much of my life was there, and the triggers that I have there are angry that I didn't leave quicker, sad that the people there were once my family, and some of them don't talk to me anymore because it's his family, and a lot of my memories are there.
That's another segue. People that don't talk to you anymore, people that threw you to the curb.
A lot.
I have quite a few, and it took me a while to let that go because it hurt. I mean, it cuts deep. You know, not only are you divorced from your ex,
Yeah.
you're divorced from your friends.
But do you find out, like, now that you look back, do you see any things that were like, oh yeah, they were definitely her friend? Because, like, when I moved there, I was the outsider already, and everybody knew each other from high school and middle school and kindergarten. And so a lot of our friends, like our main friends, were his friends, and their wives knew him, and the husbands were friends with him. And so I integrated myself into their friendships, and actually made their friendships stronger because I was very involved in the school. And so a lot of the people I met, they're like, oh, I know him, we hung out with him, let's go to dinner, let's do this. And then our kids grew up together, and then our kids have become friends and all that other stuff. And there's one of my girlfriends who has not talked to me from day one, because he went home and told them all this shit that wasn't true. And I don't need to defend myself, because apparently I'm not important enough for them to call me and ask me.
Yep.
And if they want to believe, that's on them if they want to believe that. And that's on them, because I know I was a great friend.
It's hard to let them go, but when you do, there's like a peace.
Yeah.
And then you get new friends.
And it's crazy because,
so
like, the people that were his friends, like, there's, his best friend, and then, like, their mutual really good friend. They still text me Happy Mother's Day, Happy Birthday, all this other stuff. But it's just like, hope you have a great day. And that's it. Where, like, the one who I brought in a couple, like one of my friends that I met from the school, working at the schools and stuff like that. Her and I became really good friends, and then we met her husband, and then my husband and her husband really hit it off, and then we brought him into them into like this group of people that known each other forever, and they're now divorced, and he had a baby with his fiance, and she has a new boyfriend, and they have like a ton of kids together, and I still talk to both of them. Like, I still talk to both of those people because respect-wise is, I know I was a good human.
Yeah.
And I've only ever been a good friend to them. And so if they can see me past my coupleship, that's the people that you need to keep around. There's a lot of people that I thought were going to be right by my side, and I was like, what the fuck? They're not there. And then the people that I thought were more of acquaintances have really stepped up to the plate.
Yeah, it's totally ass backwards.
Like, my best friend and I don't speak. My best friend from here, I mean, I only knew her for a couple of years, but we hit it off pretty quick when I moved here. We both were, like, doing some fundraiser at the school, and her kids were like my kids, and, like, I still think her kids are great. But her and I, because she has a different stance on marriage, we don't talk at all.
So she's married.
And she tried to give me marital advice. Her husband literally had like 4 affairs and had a secret life and all this
That's okay.
narcissistic motherfucker.
That's okay.
And I'm an asshole for getting divorced because she's still with him. So I'm like, what the hell? That's hypocritical. And if you don't see that, I'm pretty sure your God is like, yeah, I don't believe in cheating, but I don't believe in divorce either. So I'm like, I'm so confused. Like, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor. There's a lot of neighbors he coveted.
Covetousness everywhere.
Yeah, so it's like, I try not to make sense of people because people are so fucking confusing. I can't. I just can't.
Sometimes you can barely make sense of yourself.
Yeah, and so, like, I don't know. I think holidays now, you make them what they are. I almost like erased all the other holiday stuff. There's still things like, the cookie thing at night for Santa. I still, my 10-year-old probably don't believe, but he plays a good game because I say, you don't believe, you don't get shit.
There you go.
So.
Like I said, I saved all those ornaments of my kids for when they get older. Mm-hmm. So I am so excited to give it to them and get them out of my damn house.
I actually have like a box for each of them, and every year, like, I unwrap them, I put them on the tree, and then they go back into the box. I have a little bit of OCD, but they go back into the box, and they each have like a bunch of stuff that, again, I will be able to give them too. And every year I buy myself my ornament, and then that was one of the other things too. Like, we would always have those family ornaments, like all our names, the year, our name, and like, what do I do with these? And so I have divvied them up. Like, the first one I had was my son, who's 97. So we started that, and then we just gave him all the ones up until my daughter was born. And then when I gave her a bunch, and then, the little guy's 10, so he don't give a shit right now about any of that. But each year they get an ornament for their box. And then I get them in the little ornament for my tree. And then, like last year we did like the toilet paper one. Like the COVID, everybody's got a mask on in the tree and all that. So that's now mine. That's now
I got a question.
Yeah.
How about school activities and what do you call that when you do the report cards?
Oh, the parent teachers. I have that next week. Yeah.
Those are interesting.
See, my ex and I are civil enough. Like I said, next Wednesday night is our parent teacher. It's in person. You can come in person or you can do Zoom, and we're cordial enough to be like sitting in the same room. I mean, I know there are people who have separate parent teacher conferences.
Yes, there are.
See,
yes, there are.
I really can't complain about a lot of the things that revolve around my son, because he's a great dad. He's just not my person.
Yep.
And he actually is so good of a dad that sometimes it gets in the way of discipline and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot, like, one of the things is my ex has recently broke up with his girlfriend, and he just threw a big old cog in the wrench, like, hey, my lease is up in March and I'm gonna move back to Jersey. Now my little guy has definitely had a hard time adjusting to his new school, because he had all new friends and it was mask, and and I can't be
Post-COVID.
it's literally same 21 kids all the time last year, and now it's like we're now allowed to be friends with people, and we're like hang out with people, and he's not really feeling it. And so if we will make a decision as parents, like, hey, dad's moving back to Jersey, mom's staying in Colorado, what do you want to do? You're 10, and I know in New Jersey it's like 12, you can decide who you want to live with, and the judge will listen and take all the things. If my son were to say, hey mom, I want to go to New Jersey, I will be heartbroken, but I will want to do what's best for him. And I know there's people who have their kids 6 months and the other one 6 months, and they're in school different times, but that's such a huge adjustment.
That's huge.
And I know a lot of people homeschool through school, and you can do, but when he's here, I don't have anybody. I work. So how does he homeschool here? So what is that going to look like? So now, I'm a year and a half, more than a year and a half, I guess a year and a half of divorce, and right when you think all the chaos is calming, it just gets you again.
There's always wrenches. Don't believe all the wrenches are tight.
Yeah.
Screws are tightened.
Yeah, and
There's
so
always
especially
something.
when you have younger, it really was one of those things that takes your breath away. My whole world can look different in March.
Yep.
Because I want to do what's best for my son.
But you'll get through
But I
it too.
want to be selfish too. I want to be like, okay, I'll just keep him for the whole year. And then it's like, well, I don't want to keep him from his dad because because I'm a nice person. Stop it. I don't want to keep him from his dad because he is a good dad.
Yeah.
He really is a good dad, and it really has been a great dad.
Yeah, you got to do what's best for the kid.
And again, I'm heartbroken and it hasn't even happened yet. So
I know. You're
Squirrel.
scrolling already.
No, but my 10-year-old really is the priority that I didn't realize how much it you don't realize how much this affects people. And I've been through it. When I was 19, my parents divorced. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What? What are you talking about? And I told you, my dad was remarried. I'm like, they can break up. He's already been divorced 4 times, whatever. And then he died. And I'm like, well, maybe they get together in heaven, So I understood it, but I wasn't in that mindset to understand how much that affects everybody. But again, I'm happy. He's happy. He's adjusted so great, and especially in the last couple of months, where we have made such strides of him feeling at home in this new home, and I think he never get used to it, but I think he's used to the back and forth now, where it was I got to take all my stuff to dad's, or I got to do this, and now it's he has stuff at my house and he has stuff at his dad's house. He doesn't really have to. Yeah,
smooth.
And so there's so many things that come up, vacations, and now that I have the new job where I'm gonna have a school schedule, or I'm off or he's off, I'm like, does his dad not get him for a month because I want to go vacation for a month? Does his dad or if he goes live with his dad, do I have him all summer?
But you'll work
then
it
I
out.
feel cheated, and then I'm like, but if he's happy, then I'm happy.
Even if you're
sad.
cheated. So if he's happy,
Yeah.
everybody's happy.
Yeah. And it's to the point too now, like, airfare is not that terrible. I could go see him whenever I want, but I also want to be selfish. I want to work on the projects with him. I want to do all that stuff. And so...
And maybe it's a phase. Maybe he goes for a year and comes back.
Yeah. And so... I don't know. There's always something that's coming up. Like, Lance's daughter's going to college. She's a senior in high school, and there's so many, like, things that are coming up. Like, it's her last homecoming she just had, and, like, she plays soccer, so she's going to be a varsity. She plays varsity, so she's varsity senior, and there's senior nights, and then there's awards, and all these things that happen in your kid's life, and how do you meld that and where you're prepared, like senior pictures she just had like she just had homecoming, and I'm like, with my daughter, I was at every second of it. And I was like, well, I didn't really get to, like, be involved, even though I'm very involved. But we have such a great, like, we as parents, Lance and myself, and then our ex-spouses, have really tried to make it about the kids. And
that kind of helps in everybody's work.
Yeah, and my thing is, nobody asked for this. You don't get into a marriage to say, I'm going to get divorced. But when you do, you have to put...
Now get divorced. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never happens.
Yeah, and so when it happens, you have to make the children who definitely didn't ask for this, you have to make it as easy as possible for them. And I think we're doing a great job with it. And, there's times where they're just like,
Can you tell people that kids are tougher than they think?
Yeah, and they are resilient. Like, definitely more resilient than me, because I was like, And again, we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, but I think when you find you're happy and you get rid of the chaos, it's a lot easier to, find the path.
Not as much crying.
Yeah.
On the podcast.
Except for...
All right, everybody, I'm going to keep this short.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about things you're not prepared for before doing it after the divorce.
Yeah.
So, we're going to talk about next week. Loneliness.
Yeah.
Forgiveness.
Well, and the other thing is not wanting to be alone. And then when you are divorced and when you get divorced and you're dating, and
sometimes you still be alone.
Yeah, and you have those rebound 3-month things, and then you find your Sir Lancelot.
All right, everybody. Good night.
Good night. Yay, that was fun.